Hello, and welcome to the Sustainable Sites module of this Sustainable Building training series. In this short video, you can expect to learn about the direct practical benefits of sustainable site design for you and your project, the larger scale strategies that sustainable site design supports, some specific applications of sustainable site design, and a helpful framework and rating system for putting these ideas into action. When we consider sustainable building strategies, it is easy to overlook an opportunity literally right under your feet, the site. Your project site makes up a major portion of your work and investment and is bigger than any building you put on it. It is governed by similar codes as buildings, and there are many best practices for how to make engaging, functional, and sustainable sites. Designers have long sought inspiration in nature and managed natural systems for our benefit. Louis Sullivan translated classical motifs into celebrations of the American Midwest. Frank Lloyd Wright carefully sited his buildings in natural surroundings for full advantage. Frederick Law Olmsted created green lungs for the city and mitigated flood risks through carefully planned park systems. These designers recognized something very important. Working with nature is a much smarter strategy than fighting it, and that good, sustainable design can both be functional and aesthetic. These are hard-won lessons that we too can use to our advantage today. Fundamentally, people are connected to places and to nature. This mindset can shape the way that we approach integrating our sites with our buildings. A holistic approach takes advantage of the opportunities that sites present. This kind of integrative approach to site design can have several very practical benefits. If we optimize our site's potential, we work with the site and not against it. When we integrate sustainable design with site design, we consider such factors as climate, location, site conditions, and landscaping. We can minimize negative impacts on wildlife, natural ecosystems, and the human enjoyment of places. We can optimize energy use and maximize comfort by cutting down energy needs, increasing efficiency, and saving money. For example, we can use landscape elements to protect from cold winter winds, to shade us from hot summer sun, or to extend the time that we spend outside by creating temperate spots. If we work with the natural forces on our sites, we can reduce potential damages and losses from hazard events. We could design for water to go where it naturally wants to go, for example, rather than expensively forcing it where we want it to go. We can also save operations and maintenance costs over the long term by creating resilient and healthy landscapes. These are not only connect us with nature in our daily lives, but they reduce our reliance on often toxic and certainly resource-heavy upkeep activity and equipment. When we think of our project sites as simply the space around the buildings or an empty canvas on which to place our structures, we miss the opportunity to include site residents that are already there, trees and wildlife, and to enhance their ability to live and thrive. Don't be fooled by those landscape architects' renderings with mature leafy trees. It takes them 60 years to get that way. Sustainable site design also helps preserve biodiversity by protecting and restoring natural habitats, promoting the balance of local ecosystems, and mitigating the negative impacts of development. This includes humans as well as wildlife. In fact, in the best cases, you can even create new habitat opportunities for wildlife. And finally, creating sustainable environments matters for people's health and well-being. Research shows us that contact with nature reduces blood pressure and stress levels, improves mental engagement and attentiveness. Even simply having visual connections with nature matters. Tenants in New York were paying a 14% premium for floors with terraces, and offices with outdoor spaces in London were going for 5 to 10% higher rates. The underlying approach that combines all of these goals is called low-impact development. Low-impact development is a strategic development and management approach that helps manage water, pollutants, and other issues. It's really a way of designing sites and buildings to work together for environmental, economic, and public benefit. Some common practices include green roofs and also vegetated swales, buffers, parking strips, curb cutaways and retention areas, permeable pavers, rain gardens, sufficient tree and natural area cover, and bioretention elements. We can use design features such as soil and vegetation protection zones and controlling water quality in use. One study in Florida found that up to 95% of heavy metals found in waters were the result of untreated stormwater runoff. We can use native landscaping to support wildlife and to minimize heat island effects. And we can carefully consider our lighting to preserve nighttime visibility. If you're more ambitious, you might aspire for a net zero landscape design, just like for your buildings, or perhaps even net positive. That's what we call regenerative design, where your site is actually producing benefit rather than requiring resources to be maintained. Finally, good site design makes you a good neighbor. Integrating thoughtfulness in site design with the larger communities around it, be those people or wildlife or nature, has benefits for economic development, improved health for all, and maybe even attracts new visitors and customers. So, how do we put all of this into practice? A good place to start is with engaging a qualified landscape architect as a part of your team. And there are other possibilities you can build in right from the start of a project. Healthcare facilities can include things as simple as a walking trail around a property, or something that is more ambitious, like a therapeutic garden. On the office side, outdoor spaces can give employees a break from technology and a chance to connect with one another. And remember, sustainable sites also includes the interior office landscape. In retail spaces, we've seen a heightened desire and a recent need for outdoor dining and entertainment. The everyday parking lot is a great place to start. Parking often accounts for a substantial portion of a site, but it gets the least attention. This often happens because we think of parking lots as remainder spaces, out of sight and out of mind when we're not actively using them. But what if they had a life of their own while we weren't looking? Some very practical strategies include trees to provide shade, to reduce heat island effect, and to improve air quality. Rainwater can be retained on site and even bioremediated. A clever site design can integrate more than one use in a parking lot. How about a walking path or an integrated green space, or even accommodating vehicles other than cars? All of these can make the humble parking lot far more attractive, simpler, and cheaper to maintain, and take care of stormwater management requirements. All of these ideas, strategies, options, and features can be a little bewildering. Fortunately, there's help. The Sustainable Sites Initiative, also known as SITES, is a rating system much like LEED for buildings. In fact, it is administered by the GBCI, the same folks who do the LEED certifications. SITES provides a detailed framework for sustainable site design. Its sections include assessing the context, pre-design and integrative planning, site design, including water, soil, vegetation, materials, and health, as well as construction and operations and maintenance. SITES, LEED, and other rating systems will give you a nice plaque as a reward for your efforts. But the real thanks will come from all those you help by designing your site sustainably: people, wildlife, ecosystems, along with your clients, your management folks, and generations to come. Thank you for joining me in this introductory video on sustainable site design. I hope you found it useful and inspiring. Suggested readings and resources about sustainable site design can be found at the end of this video. And please, watch the other videos in the series to better understand how sustainable buildings can help reduce negative impacts on the environment while creating healthier spaces for people to live and work in.